Hi everybody, welcome to Reed's Read, Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Check us out, the SpidermanCrawlspace.com. Well everybody, I'm here of course to review Amazing Spider-Man 34, better known as 928 in the legacy numbers. We get up to the next parts of the Sinful Spider-Man, as a lot of us call it. So after last issue, which was kind of an issue with a C, how is this issue? Believe it or not, it's a huge improvement, which is the reason why I'm going to get to the pros right away. So first of all, one thing I do have to say is this is actually some of Zeb Wells' writing I actually liked during Hellions and a couple of his other series. He actually really captures the bad guys into this entire story. Believe it or not, the biggest one, of course, is Kraven buried underneath the ground experience, what Spider-Man went through all those years ago, and him, of course, realizing that really he isn't anything but a clone. He never really had a mother. He has the memories, his own Fox birth, as it was called, since basically he's just DNA taken from the original Kraven the Hunter and basically, aged regularly with a little bit of spice and a little bit of Marvel scientific science to, of course, be a young adult Kraven who's now taking the place of his father. And the truth is, it kind of really good because he's really put into a spot where really he's basically just been keeping on this legacy that really hasn't worked really good. I mean, his actual siblings have either been killed or have walked away from it. It's a very dark atmosphere with him about basically him saying how he has nothing. He never really was a person and everything, and he's actually now seeing a lot more of why his father originally committed suicide at the end of Kraven Lost Hunt. And it's very dark. And also a lot more, too, as we actually get as a Sinful Spider-Man, actually having Peter have this dark areas, or as they say, the Spider-Man that laughs, as a joke to the Batman that laughs, seeing the darker pieces, as he says, as Peter pretty much admits, now that he actually has all those voices in his head of the Goblin, of the Sins, about things he's wanted to do. As he says, he actually never trusted Norman. He's been holding out, waiting for him to go, as he shows as he beats him and punches him things he's wanted to do, how he actually wants to take care of the rest of his rogues gallery. He says, throwing Otto in his own nuclear, making Eddie Brock eat his own brain, and of course, so forth and so forth. The fact that he actually unplugs, Tombstone from life support as a little area, and the fact that he's all out to now take care of the one thing feels the most wrong about, and that's losing Mary Jane to Paul, who of course he feels is promised. It's actually well done in the darker atmosphere, and it gives a nice little pieces, especially how much Norman actually ends up freeing Kraven, but also how the fact he knows he needs to save him and to get the Sins back into him to be the actual Green Goblin again, because as Peter doesn't need to be this. It's actually pretty well done in that dark atmosphere, and also true, some of the artwork by Patrick Gleason is fantastic. The stories is able to tell so much without having so little. The panels reflect everything with the dark atmosphere, the emotional, the dialogue. It works really, really well for the story. But going to the cons, it also has some issues. All of a sudden, the Queen Goblin has gone back. Why she doesn't feel defenses for anything for Norman Osborn. She feels like she's caused more trouble, and the fact that she has to also be here. Also, everything with Randy and Janice Lincoln is also kind of thrown back at us because we haven't seen them in a couple issues. And all of a sudden, it's basically saying, Janice blames it because you ran out of meat instead of protect my family. You want to actually make a deal with the mayor to crack down on this gang war and thing that affects me, and the fact you're still not supporting me, and now you want to also make it all up. You get Janice's frustration, but as we all knew, this is something that even during Nick Spencer's run, we saw happening as it's going on. It feels like it's forced dialogue for a situation that should have happened right after 925, and it never really did. And now we're kind of getting thrown into it just to see the little pieces such as, Spider-Man unplugging Tombstone and how he wants to really treat all of his bad guys and rogues galleries here. We also have, of course, even more, too, about everything that's happened, the fact that we're still trying the fact that Mary Jane and Paul are still together for, reasons, because the story's got to happen, and the fact Norman actually has to be the voice of reason to get them out, or the fact that Paul hasn't realized that he's caused more damage than anything, or the fact that we really are rooting for Spider-Man to take out Paul. It's kind of a story that's trying to make it both ways, and the fact that we're actually trying to feel back for Norman, that Zeb Wells shows that he really enjoys the bad guys. The reason probably why Hellions was such a good, since the majority of the cast were actually the bad guys, and we got their point of view. In fact, looking at it all, if you look at Kraven and Norman, and even everything with the Goblin, the Queen Goblin, everything kind of reflects the Nanny and the Orphan Maker and Scalp Hunter. The fact that Zeb Wells has better a taste for the bad guys and revenge, and the fact he wants to throw this darker, sinister Spider-Man back out there than actually the Peter Parker. While it's nice to see that little area and the artwork is fantastic, it does bring it down. Believe it or not, though, I'm actually going to give this issue a B. I was very happy with it. The artwork, the story structure, it's miles above what it was last issue. It actually feels like there's actually leading to a decent conclusion, but having things kind of thrown in there, like ultimately Queen Goblin realizes she needs to be born and go rescue her boyfriend, the fact that Janice and Randy's situation is happening now, and the fact is that should have happened right after the 925 issue and the gang war started, and now we're not going to really see them again until gang war, which is what Zeb Wells is pouring all those subplots into as we get through this storylines and the Wreck Rap story that's coming up right after we're done with the Sons of Norman Osborn. So it's very good, and I myself am very surprised how much I actually enjoyed this issue. So I can't give it but give props for props to do with issue with a B. So on that, guys, that's all I have to say. Sorry about my delay in things. You know, life happens. Things get busy, especially this type of year. So I hope you guys will check us out for more, the SpidermanCrawlspace.com, for more information, news, podcasts, and all fun stuff Spider-Man related. And on that note, guys, I'll catch everybody later on the Crawl Space.